What happens when one of Britain's most beloved actors sits down for what should be a simple chat about his new film, only to face a barrage of personal attacks and condescending remarks that cross every line of professional decency in just 36 seconds of one particular exchange? A daytime television host's arrogance would spark an altercation so uncomfortable, so filled with tension, that it would end with the guest doing something almost never seen on live television: walking off the set entirely. Hugh Grant arrived at the Loose Women's studio expecting a routine interview. He had done hundreds of these over the years: talk about the new movie, share a funny anecdote, maybe discuss charity work, smile for the cameras, and be on his way. But from the moment he sat down on that familiar panel sofa, something felt wrong. Denise Welch, seated in the center as lead host, carried an expression that didn't match the friendly tone the show was known for. Around her, Nadia Sawalha, Kay Adams, and Jane Moore seemed ready for an ordinary segment, unaware of the storm about to unfold. The interview began normally. Denise opened with a question about his latest film, a romantic comedy getting positive reviews. Hugh answered politely, charming as ever, earning warm applause from the audience. But then Denise's smile faded into a smirk that didn't quite reach her eyes. "So, Hugh," she said, leaning forward, "let's talk about your personal life, shall we? Because I think that's what everyone really wants to know." Hugh politely redirected, reminding her the interview was meant to be about the film. Denise dismissed him with a careless wave. "Oh, don't be boring. You're Hugh Grant. Your personal life is practically public property." The atmosphere shifted. Nadia shifted in her seat. Kay exchanged a confused glance with Jane. Hugh kept his composure. "I'd prefer to keep some things private. The film is what I'm here to discuss." Denise laughed sharply. "Private? Darling, you gave that up when you became famous." Hugh's tone grew firmer. "That's not the deal at all. Being an actor doesn't mean my entire life belongs to the public." Denise rolled her eyes dramatically. "Here we go, another celebrity complaining about fame." Jane tried to step in with a question about his co-star, but Denise cut her off. "I wasn't finished. Let's talk about the scandals, the past relationships. Don't you think the public deserves answers?" The audience fell silent. Everyone could feel it. Denise was crossing a line, and Hugh knew it. Hugh sat back, jaw tightening. "I don't owe anyone an explanation for my private life," he said. "I'm here in good faith to talk about the film." Denise's tone sharpened. "Some might say your behavior has been appalling. How do you sleep at night knowing how you've treated people?" Nadia's eyes widened. "Denise," she said softly, trying to slow her down. "What?" Denise snapped. "I'm asking what people want to know." Hugh's patience was thinning. "Your job is to interview me about the film, not insult me on national television." "Insult you?" Denise gasped theatrically. "I'm holding you accountable. You're making judgments based on gossip." Hugh shot back. Kay attempted to calm the tension. "Let's all take a breath. Why don't you tell us?" "No," Denise interrupted again. "He needs to answer." "I'm defensive," Hugh said, "because this is incredibly rude. This isn't an interview, it's an ambush." Denise laughed harshly. "You're dramatic. This is just a conversation." "It's not," Hugh said firmly. "A conversation requires respect. You've shown none." The tension now hung like a thick fog over the studio. Producers were whispering urgently through earpieces, unsure whether to cut to commercial. But Denise kept pushing. "I think men like you expect us to treat you like royalty. When you get challenged, you crumble. Challenging someone and being disrespectful are two different things." Hugh said, "You're not doing investigative journalism. You're being cruel." "Cruel?" Denise snapped. "Everyone knows the nice guy act you play isn't the real you." And that was the moment Hugh's composure cracked. Slowly, he stood up. The microphone clipped to his jacket sounded a slight pop. "I'm not staying here to be insulted by someone who clearly has a personal issue with me." Denise's eyes widened. "Sit down. We're in the middle of an interview." "No," Hugh said calmly. "We're not. Not anymore." Nadia stood up too, apologizing softly. Jane joined her, telling Denise she had crossed a line. Even Kay added, "You owe him an apology." "Apologize?" "For asking tough questions." Denise scoffed. "For being rude," Kay corrected. Hugh unclipped his microphone. "I've answered difficult questions my whole career, but I've never been treated with such hostility." "Oh, please," Denise muttered. "You're being ridiculous." "Let me ask you," Hugh said. "Why did you invite me? To discuss my film, or tear me down for entertainment?" Denise didn't respond. Hugh placed the microphone on the table. That's when everything shifted. You know what's sad? Hugh said, looking directly at Denise. This show is supposed to support honest conversation. Today, it became something else, an excuse to bully. How dare you? Denise retorted. You have the right to ask questions, Hugh said. And I have the right not to sit here and be disrespected. The other panelists tried to intervene as Hugh began walking toward the exit. Denise, refusing to back down, called after him. If you walk out, everyone will know what kind of person you are. Hugh paused, looked back. The kind who won't tolerate disrespect. That's a tantrum, Denise shouted. It's called self-respect, Hugh replied. The audience gasped. Denise's face reddened. Go on then. Run away. That's what you do best. Hugh's voice softened with disappointment. I actually used to respect you. But this is just mean-spirited. Nadia looked devastated. She apologized again, her voice shaking. Jane and Kay glared at Denise, both agreeing she had acted unprofessionally. The tension was unlike anything daytime TV had seen. As Hugh finally left the set, slow clapping began in the audience, hesitant at first, then growing. Denise stood frozen, arms crossed, refusing to acknowledge what she had caused. The control room erupted. Cut to commercial. We need to apologize. What do we do? During the break, the argument continued off camera. Nadia told Denise she had been cruel. Jane said she had a personal vendetta. Kay demanded to know what she was thinking. Denise resisted, insisting she was doing her job. But no one believed it anymore, not even Denise herself. When the show returned, Denise was gone. The remaining 3 hosts faced the camera with somber expressions. Kay announced Hugh's departure. Nadia delivered a heartfelt apology. Jane acknowledged Hugh had every right to walk out. The studio felt heavy, the energy drained, the audience confused and tense. Every few minutes, the panel tried to regain control of the show, but the shadow of the incident hung over everything. Social media was already exploding, clips spreading like wildfire. In another room, Hugh packed his things quietly. A producer apologized repeatedly. Hugh, though shaken, responded with grace. It's all right. These things happen, he said, but the tremble in his hands said otherwise. Back in the studio, the remaining hosts sat in silence as the show wrapped. None of them had expected their day to end like this. As the studio audience filtered out, the weight of what had unfolded lingered in the air like smoke after a fire. Nadia exhaled shakily. I need to go home, she whispered. I need to process what just happened. We all do, Jane replied. Kay looked at the empty seat where Denise had been. The cushion still dented from her presence. I don't know how we come back from this. The truth was, they didn't know. They only knew they had witnessed something raw, something uncomfortable, something too real for daytime television. A respected guest had been pushed into defending his dignity on live air. A colleague had crossed a line that should never have been crossed. The room itself felt bruised. Late that evening, online discussions erupted. Clips of the confrontation spread across every platform. Viewers debated, analyzed, dissected the exchange. Most agreed. Hugh had shown restraint. Denise had allowed something personal to override professionalism. In the days that followed, the incident became the talk of the industry. Media analysts called it a collapse of boundaries. Others labeled it the most shocking daytime moment in recent memory. The show faced scrutiny. Meetings were held. Statements were drafted. But for Hugh Grant, the moment was simpler. He had reached a point where politeness could not mask disrespect. He had recognized that no film promotion, no publicity benefit, no televised platform was worth sacrificing his self-respect. The 36-second exchange that sparked the confrontation, replayed endlessly online. Viewers watched the exact moment the atmosphere shifted, the moment Hugh realized the conversation had stopped being about his work and had become an attack on his character. At its core, the incident served as a reminder. Fame does not erase humanity. Success does not eliminate boundaries. And respect is not optional. The studio lights eventually dimmed. The equipment was packed away, and the set returned to silence. But what had happened that day would not be forgotten. It would be replayed, discussed, analyzed for years. Hugh had walked onto the set as a guest. He walked off as someone who refused to be diminished. Someone who understood that sometimes the most powerful thing a person can do is simply leave. And for everyone who watched the moment unfold in real time, one truth became crystal clear. There is a difference between asking questions and crossing a line. Denise crossed it. Hugh didn't. And that made all the difference.